Welcome to Baker Dave Presents. We're here today at the Johnson Hardwood Kitchens at Temple University. It's a working kitchen. There might be some noises, there might be some people in the background. Today my guest is a student here at Temple University. Her name is Veronica Sellers, and she has brought with her her Grammy's recipe for chocolate cake, coming right up. Welcome, Veronica.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
You're joining my show today. You're
Yes,
a
I
student
am.
here at Temple.
I am indeed.
What's your major?
Media Studies Production.
That's pretty
Senior.
awesome. You're a senior, so you're going to
I
graduate
am.
soon.
Yes, next December. I'm graduating early. I'm very excited.
I bet your parents are excited too to
Oh.
not be paying for another semester.
They
I'm
very
hoping my
much
daughter
so are.
graduates a semester early. That's like a huge plan.
It is.
So that's awesome. Congratulations
Thank
early.
you.
And I mean, I assume you're still going to do the rest of it well. I would
Hopefully.
hate for you not to. So what are we making today? What did you bring?
This is my grandmother's chocolate, special chocolate cake. And
Grammy?
She adds coffee into it. So that's the secret.
That's the
to
secret
it.
ingredient?
Yes.
That's not,
But coffee, you know.
I hate to tell you this, but adding coffee into your stuff is not that secret.
Oh. Well, that's
I actually put coffee in my chocolate cake as well.
really. She says
A lot
that
of
makes it
people
really
do.
good.
It does make it good. So when you add coffee to chocolate cake, what's great about it is it actually brings out the chocolate flavor. The bitterness actually brings that chocolate bitterness out, and it makes it more chocolatey.
Oh.
So it's a good thing. Also, the hot coffee, as opposed to cold coffee,
Mm-hmm.
will help actually melt the cocoa powder a little bit, so to make it
Okay.
a little smoother and creamier. So that's all good stuff. So, where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Daytona Beach, Florida.
Holy cow! And you just said, I'm going to come to Philly?
No.
Like you were tired of the sun? Like, who comes up here for school?
I don't. Man, my parents moved here to Allentown, which is about an hour away when I was like 5 or 6.
Oh, so it wasn't like you were.
No,
you
I
weren't an
was
adult
raised in
making this-
Allentown
Okay.
and then came to Philly.
So you're going to go back to Daytona after you graduate?
No, I'm actually moving to LA, which is very exciting.
Basically the same thing, right? I mean,
Basically.
only slightly less crazy, but probably not. Probably just as crazy.
Probably not. No.
The people in California, I love California people, don't get me wrong, and Florida people, but they're all a little bit, it's almost like another world.
No, it is. It's a whole other world on the West Coast. If you've never been there, then you have to leave everything from the East Coast here and be prepared for
Well,
the
the fact
different
that
kinds of people
they
there.
actually had the nerve to build a city in the desert and pretend like it was a good idea.
Yeah,
Like
I
they
mean,
had
all
to
those
bring water
wildfires.
from the Colorado River. They don't even have water there, really.
True.
Like it's
true.
ridiculous.
It is. It's pretty crazy, but
But I guess it's good because
the
it never
spot.
rains there.
doesn't.
Right?
No, not
It
really.
does
It's
sometimes,
it's
but
really
very-
rare.
not
it does.
very often, yeah.
It's really rare. So when it happens, you're like, holy crap! Wow.
Unlike Florida, the opposite, rains there all the time.
Yep.
Like every day. I remember I was there one time. It was literally like 2 o'clock every day. It would rain. It was insane. All right. So, do you ever eat this cake growing up as a kid? Was this
I
like
did.
a normal thing for you? Mm-hmm. Was it a special
It's
occasion?
my
like
every
what
birthday,
was it?
which is actually on Friday, so that's
Oh,
just pretty
and
cool.
happy
It's a
birthday.
perfect timing. Thank you.
It's like you're gonna get a little birthday cake early.
little
Did she
little-
make one for you?
She was going to, but she was like, "You're going to make it, so why do I need to make it?"
But then you could compare and be like,
She's
Grammys
always
is-
going to be the winner. She's
This
always,
is what I'm saying. So you can tell her, listen, we made this the other day with a professional pastry chef, and yours is still better than his. You should totally do that.
Yeah.
And
I'll have
and
to
it's
tell
true.
her,
It's
tell her.
totally true, regardless of whether it's true or not.
She'll
But,
always take the credit.
Have you ever decorated cakes? Is that
I have
something
not. I have not. And I don't.
you never like got in the kitchen with your
We've
Grammy
done
to
always
do it?
sprinkles because she knows. Like I was a very impatient child. I was like, I just want to eat this. I'm going to eat this.
There's
I don't.
something about you that seems slightly impatient. I'm not
Yeah?
gonna lie.
Oh man.
Okay, so I mean, let's get started with it then.
Yeah.
We've got and so I like to do things by hand. I've got a mixer here, but that's for the icing later.
Okay.
Because you really can't do that by hand. That's you can't get the air into it. But I do this because I like the idea that if you don't have a mixer at home, not everybody has a mixer at home. This cake, because it's an oil-based cake, I love that. Means that it's totally hand mixable.
My grandma says that she has some of these, and she's like, you could have it when you're older. I don't want it. She loves
doesn't
hand
use
mixers.
it.
She never uses
Exactly.
it, ever.
Exactly. So you're going to actually make this because you're showing me. I'm not showing you, right?
Okay.
Do you have more jewelry you want to put on before you start? Or I mean, because
no,
that's
I
a
think-
lot.
I
It's a
think
lot
this
of
is good.
jewelry.
I think it's a good amount.
You think?
It's a perfect even.
Okay, I'm just checking because you don't want to get anything in the mix itself.
True.
For your mixing, for
Okay.
hand mixing pleasure. So where are we gonna start? You don't know? We're gonna start with dry stuff. It's a cake.
Okay, sounds good.
So why don't you start putting, we got cocoa powder, sugar, and flour. Throw that all in there.
All together? Okay.
Yeah.
A nice
And
little-
the other thing is I notice, like a lot of times you look at recipes and they'll say, you know, add a little more cocoa powder if you want to be chocolate or a little less. The more cocoa powder you put into it, the drier the cake is going to be.
Really?
So you do want to be careful of that.
See, that's something I would do.
It's just be like, I want it chocolatey,
I
so I'm
want
going to
it
add more cocoa
chocolatey.
powder. Why not?
Just
And then you'll
add
have an extra dry. So we have those. I also like to add my leavening in the beginning.
Yep.
So that was baking powder,
Okay.
and that's baking soda. Do you know the difference?
I actually don't.
Okay, well, you're going to learn the difference. This is super fun. So baking soda is sodium bicarbonate, right?
Okay.
Baking powder is baking soda with an acid added in. So it usually has like a cream of tartar and maybe a cornstarch because baking soda needs an acid to react.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you ever do the experiment as a kid where you put like vinegar or something
Yeah.
into it and it bubbles up?
Bubbles up.
That's what we're doing. So the acid in this, that's why you barely have any baking powder. It's mostly baking soda. Your acid is going to come from your cocoa powder, which is acidic, and it's going to come from your coffee, which is also acidic.
Oh, okay. That makes
So
sense.
that's going to cause it to react. So it's double acting baking powder. It actually it's going to react twice.
Wow.
It's going to react when you're mixing, and then it's going to react again when it's in the oven. Okay?
That's good, yeah. There's
Okay.
a lot of science behind this.
The science. And salt. Salt's super
Okay.
important because you're not using butter, you're using oil. So butter would be pre-salted, oil is not, right?
Mix this all together.
Yeah, that would be great. Mix that all up. You're so dainty the way you're mixing that.
Are you a lefty or righty?
I'm a righty. Are you a righty?
I'm a lefty.
Oh, is that what it is?
It has to be.
You're holding it like a pen, though. I've never seen anybody do that. That's pretty cool.
How do you hold it? Like this? Oh, like on
So-
the side.
Right. You kind of like, I don't know. So then you can have control over it. I don't know if you can do that because you're left-handed and I'm not. There you go. See? Isn't that
Oh, that's
so much better?
easier. It is, it is, it is.
This is what I'm saying. So we're learning
why I'm
how to
here with
hold
you.
a whisk.
My goodness.
All right, I'm just going to take the vanilla and dump it in the milk. 'cause
Okay. It's going to be mixed together anyway.
Why not, right? We have our hot coffee over here. I'm going to start adding liquids, okay?
Okay.
Once I do this, you're going to have to make sure you mix it so you don't get lumps,
Okay.
okay? So because it's all liquidy, I know that when you read recipes, and I actually read this recipe too, and this might be why Grammy's is better than mine because she probably follows the recipe exactly. I know that you can just dump everything in as long as you're willing to mix it quickly. So,
Yeah, she's very precise.
right. So I'm a little less, I'm precise on the measurements. My measurements are perfect, but I'm not going to be like half the flour and half the milk and blah, 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 like, because that just seems like a lot of work to me. And I don't do that.
It is.
So we're going to dump our fats in because that's always done in the
Okay.
beginning anyways. And then your eggs are usually next. And I'm going to go ahead and put the milk in. You need to start mixing. I don't think you understood what I meant by like mixing. Quit now.
Mixing while you're
Keep going,
pouring
keep
it.
going,
Okay,
keep going.
Okay,
keep going,
okay.
keep going, keep going.
Oh man, this is like a hustle. This is a hustle.
How's that working for you?
It's going. It's a little tough.
So you want it to be a
Definitely.
little softer. So we're going to go ahead and pour our hot coffee in there.
Okay. There we go.
And I think the reason that she doesn't have the coffee going in first, which I always actually put the coffee in first, but I went along, is I think to not make the stuff react too soon. Do you need some help there?
Sure. I feel like
You just
feel like
gave
got
it up
more
really
than
quick,
muscle
didn't you?
mass. Dang. You're going fast.
Well, I'm trying to make sure it's, you see the lumps that are in there
Yeah,
a little bit? I'm trying to get rid of those. The side to side one is a good move too.
Side
do you
to
have any
side?
brothers, sisters?
I do not. Only
You're
child.
an only child. That explains so
Yeah.
much. Like I've only known you a few minutes, but I totally understand.
Oh,
You're
man.
the only, and that's in a positive. I didn't want you to
No,
think
that's
it's
okay.
negative.
That's okay.
My daughter's an only child, so I'm totally used to that. Maybe that's why we're getting along just fine.
Yeah, my grandma. I was always in the kitchen with my grandma baking, but I was usually the one just observing. So I was always, like I said, a very.
So why
eager
didn't you
to
jump
eat.
in and help out?
I wasn't like that till I was older.
You didn't want to get messy.
More or less, I just wanted to eat it.
You just wanted to eat it. You
just
want no
wanted-
part of actually. So we're gonna make cupcakes today, so it's not actually gonna be like your birthday cake. And I apologize. I didn't
okay.
realize it was your birthday, or I would have made it more like a cake.
It's
but
okay. Cupcakes
do you ever
are
use
good.
these?
I've never used one. No.
It's just like a scoop, but it makes it so that they're all even.
Okay.
By all means, if you're at home and you want to, you can start.
Okay.
Just one scoop for each thing, each section here.
I don't have to,
If you're at home and you're using a spoon or whatever, that's great. But hopefully, like this just makes it easier. You tend not to make as much of a mess.
Don't speak too soon.
Right, well, you tend not to make as much of a mess. There is a handle on there to help push it out.
Oh.
You haven't used it yet. But,
Haven't used it yet.
Right.
Okay,
So,
let's see.
it might be because this is, now that I'm looking at it, this is a right-handed scoop. I just realized. I didn't have a left-handed scoop for you. I have an ambidextrous scoop. Isn't that a fun word to say?
That is a fun word.
So you grew up in
My goodness.
Allentown.
Yes, I did.
What else do you like to do besides media studies? Because that doesn't seem like a
Media
hobby at
study.
all. That seems like what you're... And even then, you're moving out to LA. What are you doing with that?
Well, I have an internship this summer.
That's
with
exciting.
E-News. So the goal is to do TV hosting, TV show hosting.
So you want to be actually on air.
Yes, I do.
So this is good practice, right?
This is very good practice.
Someday when you're super famous,
I'll look
somebody
back.
will like find this video on YouTube and they'll be like, oh, I remember when she was on Baker Dave. Back
By
in the
that
day.
point, you're going to be
Still
a
here
top
doing
chef.
these same things. Exactly.
No.
I just hope that I have love, happiness, and enough money to get by. That's all I care about.
That's all that matters.
So I will probably still be here at Temple 20 years from now if everything goes as planned.
Are you from the Philly area?
I am not actually. Look at, you're turning the tables on me now.
I
You're
am.
practicing your hosting skills there, right? I'm actually from Findlay, Ohio.
Okay.
It's a little town in the northwest corner. We're gonna put this in the oven,
Okay.
In the fancy big oven. Maybe
toast.
40,000 people. That might be now. It might have been less when I was actually living there. I have one sister and two brothers.
Wow, okay.
So I was not an only child, although I've raised my daughter as an only child. Yeah, I don't know what else. How's your hosting now? You're not asking me any other questions.
I didn't know if I should be the one asking. Or
Absolutely.
You
Like
yeah?
dude, practice. This is your shot.
It is
to,
good practice. It is good practice.
Absolutely.
How long have you known that you wanted to do baking?
I actually
Culinary.
decided that I wanted to bake when I went to culinary school and saw people baking. Because I actually signed up culinary, which I was like, it's all the same thing, right? I didn't know any better. As a kid, I used to bake with my grandmother, so that's why I don't understand why anybody wouldn't get in there and help her with the cupcakes, but she didn't, and that's cool. But I used to help my grandmother out with stuff. I used to make apple pies and whatever. And then I signed up for culinary school. I went down and toured the school, and as I'm touring the school, like in one room, they're butchering meat, and I was kind of grossed out.
Yeah,
And then across the hallway, this guy was like blowing sugar and making these centerpieces, and I was like, that's different. I'm gonna sign up for that. And I
like that.
literally went while I was on the tour that summer and switched my major.
That's
to
exciting.
history. And then here I am, years later. So yeah, that is exciting.
How many years has it been?
25,
Wow, look at that.
26. It's been a lot. It's been a lot. After you stop counting after a while, you know.
But at least
I
you
look
have
so
the
young
passion.
for my age, right? I mean,
Yeah.
let's keep the hair short. That way you don't see the grays. That's a little trick I learned.
little hat helps too.
The hat definitely helps. That definitely helps. So yeah, that's going to spin around the oven for a little bit, and then we need to actually make icing.
Okay.
I almost forgot. I was having such a good time being hosted
There you
that I
go.
forgot that we needed to make icing. So I've got. So I just wanted to explain that these measurements are less important. So I noticed her recipe was basically like a 3-to-1 ratio. So depending on how much icing
You
as a
need.
kid, one of the things that I used to do, my grandmother would take icing, right? And we'd always have too much. And then she would take graham crackers and put icing between the graham crackers. And it was okay when you ate it right then, but when she stuck it in the fridge and like the next day it softened up, for some reason it was like the greatest cookie ever.
It's like those little the little fudge cookies.
Yeah, yeah. So
Those are really good.
I was super happy about that. So I always make too much icing. Because I can always use it for something else, right?
Exactly.
So we literally have like a 3-to-1 ratio, and we just have butter and powdered sugar. So 3 parts powdered sugar to 1 part butter. And actually when I make buttercream, I make not as sweet. I make it more like a 1-to-1 ratio, but a lot of people go pretty high on the powdered sugar, partly because you're adding cocoa powder, which is going to make it bitter.
Yeah.
And partly because that's what we do here in America. I don't know. It seems like a lot of recipes are very sweet.
Yeah.
And I'm not a fan of super sweet, but
Me either.
because of all the sugar, it's going to make it fairly thick. To thin it back out a little bit, we'll add a little bit of milk to it as well to get the
Perfect.
consistency we want. So there's the cocoa powder. That's like almost a cup of cocoa powder.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of those steps where your recipe, Grammy's recipe, said whether you wanted it light or medium or dark, depending on how cocoa you like. How chocolate do you like it? Are you a fan of chocolate?
I am a fan of chocolate, but we have chocolate cake too. So I'm thinking.
But
like the
you've
light
had this chocolate cake before, like.
I have. But
So do you like it when it's more chocolatey or less chocolatey?
I've liked both. So what do you like? Let's go based on that.
This
Compromises are good.
This
Compromises
isn't about,
are good.
This isn't about me. Just dump in the amount that you want to dump
Okay,
in.
I'll start with that.
If you want it to be light, if you want it to be dark, I
Let's
think
go. That's good, right?
that looks fine to me.
Let's keep it at that.
Throw some of that milk in there too, so that maybe
Alright.
it'll help bring it together. And then the key to icing is really just whipping it. Well, you put all the milk in. I really didn't measure that, so hopefully that was the right amount. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it's the right amount.
Okay.
You'll see it'll start to come together, but the key to icing is adding air to it to make it fluffy, right? Because nobody likes buttercream that's like hard and dense,
No.
right? You want it to be nice and fluffy. So the more air you add into it, the fluffier it's going to be, right? Mm-hmm. And that usually takes, I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes. It's very cold in here. I don't know if you noticed that. Did you notice it was chilly? A little chilly in here?
A tad.
So the butter itself is actually really hard, so it's not mixing quite as quickly as it usually does, which is, I mean, that's what happens. Sometimes it's cold. It is like the middle of winter, right? So
It is. Hey, we haven't had that much snow, shockingly enough, so.
do you like snow or are you a snow fan?
I am not. I'm a Floridian. I'm originally a Floridian. Come on.
How do you call yourself a Floridian?
Because I already know I don't like the cold. And
But I
I've
mean,
never
you're
liked
seriously, you left there when you were 5. You didn't even know anything. You probably have no memories
I
of there.
don't, but I do
Then
know
how do you-
that I don't like the
And
cold.
you call
so
yourself
it
a
fits.
Floridian.
Yeah.
Like, has that ever come up in conversation? You're like, oh yeah,
no,
I'm
no.
actually a Floridian.
Well, when people are like, how come you don't like the cold? I'm like, oh, it's because I'm a Floridian. That's why. No. Why are you moving to California? Oh, it's warm. Because I'm a Floridian.
Because you're a Floridian. You just
Yeah.
say it rolls off the tongue, right?
Rolls off the tongue.
I think if I was a Floridian, I probably wouldn't admit to it. But that's just me, you know. I love Florida. I mean,
Oh,
it's
man.
Disney World, right? I mean, that's about the only thing valuable there, isn't it?
Oh,
the
man.
whole state is great,
The whole
actually.
ro-
I apologize. It's a great state.
It's an okay state, but I see where you're going.
It's a little bit crazy.
Oh, it's a lot
And
of it
it
crazy.
shouldn't even
it's a
be
lot
there.
Of it crazy.
It's like hanging on by a thread. A good, a few more feet of polar ice caps, and it'll be gone anyways. So.
It's a good college student place, though. You want to you want to party, you want to have a good time. That's the place. But other than that, it's not that great.
All right.
So I agree.
Okay, it looks like the cupcakes should be about done.
They look good.
Does it look like Grammy?
Pretty close. We've never made them in cupcakes, so
You never made them in cupcakes.
no. But
You can make them in any shape you want.
Exactly.
You can make a bundt cake, you can make a loaf cake, you can make, I feel like, what was that movie where we kept talking about shrimp? Anyways, side note. So we're going to dump these out. Huh. There we go. And now we have these beautiful cupcakes for your birthday. Should we write happy birthday on them? Well, we can't do it 'cause it's all just chocolate at this
that's
point.
okay.
I guess we could write each letter in chocolate icing, but that seems like a lot of work.
That's
I
a
think
little
in
bit.
spirit, you'll know that
I'll
it's your
know.
birthday
Yeah.
cupcakes, right? So, the icing's right down. We have to let this cool a minute.
Okay.
What,
Beautiful.
how's that look? Look
very
like the
nice.
icing that
Yes,
you
it
remember?
does. Nice and fluffy.
Nice and fluffy. So, what made you decide to go into media arts? Like,
Media studies.
you could have totally done anything, right?
I've always loved public speaking since I was very young. And I originally was in journalism, and then I realized that journalism was not for me because I don't like
a lot of
political.
writing.
No, it's like political news, and I've never been a fan of political news. But entertainment and industry and being behind the camera and in front of the camera has always been my passion. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
it's pretty cool.
So that's your goal is to just
Be on screen, do interviewing, meet interesting people.
So I'm sure it's going to work out great for you. Let's say it doesn't, though. Is there a point where you're going to be happy with it, still doing it?
Like, well, yeah, of course. So
nothing's worse than like putting all your dreams onto one thing.
Exactly. You always have to have a backup plan. So my dad always says, you sacrifice the time in your life now to better yourself later.
Absolutely.
And the cool thing is about my degree is there's a bunch of different things I could do. I could do behind the camera. I could do editing. I could do social media, running social media accounts.
Oh,
so there's
a
broad spectrum of things I could do if what I want doesn't end up working out. So I'll be happy with anything.
This is just my parental advice right now.
Okay. I'll take it.
But I think it's important that you look for what makes you happy about it and not the specific act. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, yeah.
So like if what you love to do is these little short videos or whatever, and you're just as happy doing them on YouTube or on something else as you would be working for a big network, you know what I mean? Like the part that you enjoy the most, go after that. Don't worry about what your title is or your position.
No, exactly, of course.
You know what I mean?
Like, there's always a goal. I know for a fact I won't get from A to Z right away, and of course, I might not even get there, but that's not.
Z might not even exist when you get there. You don't know what the industry is going to be like, right?
When you go for something, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to end up doing that. You might fall in love with something else along the way. And
exactly. You got to keep
I'm very
your options
open-minded.
open.
Try to be very open-minded.
Then you're going to be happy. That's
exactly.
really
that's
the goal,
I want.
right? The goal is to be happy.
Be happy with what I do and love, for the most part, about what I do. I mean,
and that's
nothing's
how I
perfect,
am.
but
that's how I am right now. Like I might not be, some big-time TV food star person.
But you're happy doing what you love.
But I love what I do.
Exactly.
And
that's all that
I
matters.
love working here at Temple, and I love baking. So, I mean, I'm very content with what it is that I do.
That's all that matters.
What's important. Cool. All right, so why don't you ice a few of these cupcakes for me since it's your birthday?
Okay. See how this
I want to
goes.
see how this works.
Oh, man.
Okay, that's cool. So you're going to go for the opposite side. That's pretty neat. Are you feeling pressure right now?
A little bit.
All right, so typically I would use the back side.
Okay. Oh, because it's flat, it's easier to get on. Okay, that would make total sense.
And then I would just ice it very simply like that. Since we didn't bring piping bags.
Awesome. Okay.
Now let's see how yours works out.
Let's see how Lefty does it.
I don't think that should make a difference.
That's my excuse for it.
That
Things don't work
you're
out.
A Floridian.
I'm a Floridian. Oh
Those
man,
are
that
the two
doesn't make it any better.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Again, I love Florida. I want to make this clear. Florida's a wonderful state.
Man.
You're doing a great job. The top is almost coming off. You're doing a great job.
You weren't supposed to see it. If I was trying not to show it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's not.
I didn't notice that the top was coming off. My bad. It looked like it was totally staying on. I think we're good.
I think that was good. I think that was good.
I think that's perfect. Why don't we try these out and see if they taste like what you think they're going to taste like.
Okay. Oh man, I hope that they do.
Here, you want mine?
No, I'm gonna get this little top. It's set. It's already set. It's
Cheers.
Cheers.
Almost knocked it off.
Almost. It's pretty dang good.
Delicious. And very moist.
Mm-hmm. I like the light icing. I'm glad I went with the lighter.
I think it would have been way too much chocolate. I think it's so chocolatey.
It's very.
Something you can do too is I've done where instead of using milk, I actually use the coffee in the buttercream.
Oh really?
Again, brings out that chocolate flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's very good.
I appreciate you coming down here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
This is amazing. Amazing chocolate cake. Tell Grammy that it was delicious.
She'll love to hear that.
But not as good as hers.
She'll tell you that. But thank you very much. I do appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us here on Baker Dave Presents, and a special thanks to Veronica Sellers and to her Grammy for that delicious chocolate cake. Join us again next time on Baker Dave Presents, and remember, every recipe has a story.